Hey, what's up, everybody? You tuned in to another episode of Strategic Moves. I'm your host, Kenn Dowell. This is a place where we bring art, culture, politics, and business all together, and we do it every week right here on this channel. But when I'm not shooting this podcast, I am the owner of Strategic Resources, where we specialize in political campaigns, government, and public relations work. I've been doing it for over 25 years in this city, and I want to make your next move a strategic move. So this program gives me an opportunity to do just that. I bring on some of the people I met. We come on, we sit down, we talk about some of our experiences, and maybe, just maybe, it's something out of it that you can get that'll help you with your personal life or your business. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in, all I need you to do is hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell as well, so that you will know the next time this program is coming on. So without that, we're going to get ready and get started today. Got an exciting program today. We have a young lady who's been changing the way we look at things today, especially me, because just this thing I got about these women wearing these bonnets out here in public. And today, we're going to actually talk about that. Bonnets. Lateef, DJ, before I get into that, we're going to have to welcome and give a shout out to the producer and person who helped put this program together. Is none other than DJ True. What's happening, brother?
What's good? What's good?
Oh, today is a wonderful day. It's getting ready to get going. We're getting ready to kick off our new season of our podcast. We're bringing in new guests to get us started. We're getting ready to kick off our new season with the radio show, getting off and getting things going. We added a few new people to our team today, and this week is helping us to get more organized. So in the future, we're going to be doing some bigger and better things. So I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. We just had the event. We had the podcast event, the 4-year. We've been in this for 4 years now.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. We had an event this weekend. We had celebrated being on the podcast for 4 years and 19,000 subscribers.
19. So congratulations to you. You get the claps.
I get the claps today, man. That didn't even sound right. Let's get that back. Let's pause on that one. Ooh.
Oh my God. Why do people do that? Pause. The claps. What is that?
We got to pause on that one. You know? That shows y'all been on this YouTube way too much, man. Jeez. But I really appreciate it. We had a great time doing it. We started out, and it was not an easy thing. And people see some of our earlier shows, they can tell we grew a lot. So we're happy about all of that.
We definitely growing.
Yeah.
And we had very few shows that was. I believe we haven't had terrible shows, but we have had our hiccups and our learning experiences. But so far, so good. We moving in the right direction.
Let's hope so, man. We got big things to do. We got good people in our corner. We bringing on very new guests and people who are doing good things in the city. So sky's the limit. Oh, and we're moving into a new location. We're getting big. We're going to have 6,000 square feet.
We could throw a little party up in that joint.
What we going to do with it, but we got it. We got it. We're going to go over there and do what we do. All right, we're going to get started today, man, because I got a young lady on here that I'm interested in speaking with. As I talked about earlier, she came up with a solution for all you ladies who wear bonnets out there and for all you men who tired of seeing your woman walk around with these bonnets on. I got something for y'all today. And we're going to talk to her in the next few minutes. But if you just tuned in, I want to welcome you back to an episode of Strategic Moves. I'm your host, Kenn Dowell, where we bring real conversations and real people making real moves. This is a place where art, culture, politics, and business, it all interact. And today, we're going to add something extra, faith and creativity. Today is what we're going to talk about today. My guest today is an entrepreneur, creator, powerhouse, and faith leader. She's the founder of Perfect Pineapple, that's what I'm talking about, a luxurious head wrap for hair accessory band. And her work has been featured in New York Magazine, Essence, and New York Fashion Week. And she is making waves in Cleveland business and creative community. But beyond fashion and business, Shiron is a woman of faith. She is the founder of Kingdom Culture Worship Night, a powerful gathering for believers who come together and experience pure, authentic worship. She brings people closer to God while uplifting community through her work. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to Charron Leeper to our program.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you came on the program.
Got to add Agency 33 in there,
We're
baby.
going to add Agency
Yeah.
33 in there. Agency 33 is where we're going to start.
Let's do it.
We're going to start with Agency 33. We're going to
Yeah.
start out where it all began, then we go into agency.
Perfect.
So you from Cleveland, you grew up here, you're a Clevelander. Give us
I
your
am.
background. Where you from?
Yeah, so I claim Cleveland Heights.
Cleveland
I grew
Heights?
up in Cleveland
That's cool.
Heights.
That's where I live.
Never thought I'd leave until like around the 7th grade, middle school. Then I started to move around. So I moved to Willoughby.
Okay.
I went to Willoughby Middle for 8th grade, and then I went to Willoughby South for 9th grade. Then I moved again and went to Shaker Heights and played basketball throughout. I started playing ball in the 9th grade, and then I ended up doing like that dual enrollment program where you take your senior year classes at a community college, and you earn freshman year college credits and also senior credits. So I ended up going to Shaw High and playing basketball there, but not taking classes there, and taking my senior year classes at Tri-C. And so then I got a full scholarship to play basketball, Division I at Radford University.
So we're going to get into that because that takes a lot to get there. You just don't get a D1 now. You worked hard to get there to do all that. What position you played in high school?
I actually played a power forward. Yeah.
Really?
And I'm about 6 foot. I'm like 5'11" and some change, like almost 6 foot. But getting to college, that was a whole different beast, Division I, because those girls was big. They were like 6'2", 6'3", strong. But it was nothing but the grace of God, because I started playing in the 9th grade.
Okay.
My first sport was track and field. I was just in a really good shape, so that was like half the battle, but I knew nothing about basketball. Really? I just was tall, and I remember my mom was like, you don't get no scholarship, and we're going to take out some student loans to go to college. And I was like, okay, I got to get a scholarship. And so
you picked basketball?
Yeah, my older sister played. She played for Heights. And people just started telling me, like, you should play because you're tall. You could play. You're athletic. You're fast. You run track. So why don't you try basketball? Because you could actually get a scholarship to go to school. And I was like, okay. It was really that simple. I was like, I'll try it.
Really? And
started playing like in the 8th grade, then really got serious in the 9th grade when I realized like this is the way that I'm going to get to college. So let me give it a try.
Did you go through all them trainers and all of that stuff?
I was blessed to have somebody that I call like an aunt to me, Denise Duncan. Like she is like the reason that I got a scholarship. She is just, I don't know how to even describe her. She is really for the heart of young athletes, and she made sure, like, she was my coach. So she put me in everybody's basketball camp every summer. Like, I was locked down from 9th grade to 12th grade, like in everybody's basketball camp in the summer, going to West Virginia, staying with people I didn't know, shooting camps, open showcases and stuff like that. I got to play with some really dope people that went off to play pro. So it was a blessing. I was honestly surprised at the level that I got to so quickly, not having any real skill, like, to start off with.
And because I got 4 kids, and 3 of them really play sports. My son did football, and the girls did softball.
Okay.
So I understand. That's why I asked you. You ain't gonna stare over there. I know
it was grind. It was grind season.
It was grind doing all
like,
of that. That was a lot of work to get there and a lot of pain.
Yeah.
It took and to get a D1. So did you get any other schools coming after you, or
I did.
How did that go?
I did. It was really cool. Like, I had University of Massachusetts. I was looking at. I wanted to go O State, but. Because I was fresh to the game, I was highly athletic, but my basketball IQ was not matching up. So I knew I could probably play for Ohio State, but I would probably sit the bench. So I was looking for an opportunity to like continue to play.
Exactly. That's that other part about it. You'd be happy you get those scholarships, but then you'd be like, are you going to play? Or
just
you
getting dressed. You don't do nothing else.
Yes. My son, he had got a scholarship and he played at Morehouse. And the issue that he got redshirted. And I used to be so excited because I'd be like, hey, man, you playing this week? You traveling? And he finally broke and said, Dad, I don't want to travel. I'm like, what you mean? He said, I'm redshirt. They're not playing me. He said, so I got to go to the games. I can't catch up on my work. It's like I'm playing, but I'm not playing. He said, I'd much rather they don't bench me, let me stay home and let me do the work.
That's real, because just to segue as we go into the story, like, I always knew I wanted to be a fashion designer. Fashion and modeling was my first love. At 16, I was super shy. I was really skinny. People wanted me to model professionally then. But I was so, like, very modest. And I don't want people to see me changing clothes. Like, I didn't understand the gravity of if I just said yes, that could have been like a full-on career for the rest of my life. But I loved fashion design, and I've been an artist since a kid, sketching. I used to think I would be like an impressionist painter. I used to sketch in watercolor and like oil pastels and all that other stuff. And so I was like, yes, I get this full ride, and man, I could take fashion and for free.
That's what the goal was.
And I get there and they're like, yeah, we've never had a recruit that wants to take fashion. That's literally like the only major you can't take because of your travel schedule.
Wow.
And I was devastated. I was
Wow.
like, you mean to tell
Wow.
me
Wow.
I got here?
The only reason I'm here.
The only reason, and I gotta choose something else.
Wow.
And so honestly, I actually called like my older sister because I was literally in like the admissions office and I was just stunned. And I was like, what do you think I should do? And she was like, I was like, it's between this or like graphic design. And she was like, I think you could make some money. She was really being super practical. That's how she is. And she was like, I think you could get a job as a graphic designer. So I think you should try. I was like, great. Again, I was just like, okay.
But it's so crazy how that moment.
It hurt me. It still hurts to this day.
It still hurts for this day too. But you saw how that moment is life changing so much.
It's pivotal.
It's a pivotal moment right there because she can almost said, "Screw them, girl. You want to be a designer?
It could have been.
You got to walk out of there."
It could have been.
And you might have thought about it really heavy, but
Yeah.
she said, "Hey, you do what you do," and I got family members who that way also. They would have said, "Hey, you can," because I would have been like, "Girl, you came this far. Don't you want to be?" That's me. My wife and everybody, they different. But beat goes on. You end up doing graphic design.
I did. And I did it with a bitterness too. I was like, I'm really going to be, I was so set on being a fashion designer. I was like, I'm just going to take these classes. I'm just going to pass these classes. I'm never going to need this. This is when Adobe was just coming out, like all those things. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. But then I started to really enjoy it. And this is when coding was coming on the scene and I was doing animation in Flash, which I don't think they even use anymore.
I remember when Flash.
Yeah, basic HTML and stuff like that, and learning just the principle of design. I was like, this is actually interesting. I ended up feeling, again, because I was going with the flow. That's why I feel like it was nothing but the grace of God just to get me to a college education, because I never really wanted to be a ball player. I never wanted to go overseas, never wanted to play NBA. But it felt like I just started to have these forced marriages, like these love relationships with the things that I was actually just being diligent in, and started to see the value in those things.
So what was it about graphic design that clicked?
I think it was the ability to create something, like to really materialize what was in my mind and communicate that. Also the process of like when you're in school and you have to explain your work and you have to bring people into your world. I think that's when I started to feel that love for explaining things creatively, conceptually.
Because you already had it.
Yeah, because I always loved art.
You always loved art.
Yeah.
It was just a different. It came from clothing or whatever your fashion was to a graphic.
Yeah.
Which made it a little easier.
Yeah.
Because if you really didn't want to have, if you didn't have that creative piece, it'd have been nightmarish.
It would have been. Because graphic design was a grind. You're in the lab late at night. That's where I developed all these bad sleeping habits. I would be asleep in class. My professors knew I used to sit in the front row and be like, I'm sorry if I fall asleep, but I'm here to focus. I'd be knocked out in them 8 a.m. classes. But that's the privilege, too, of being an athlete. They're like, oh, we know you travel. We know this and that. So it was a really cool experience. College was great.
So let's talk about, before we get you out of college, because how was the basketball career? So how did, you did you play all 4 years and you finished out and all that?
So I played, it was pretty good. My first coach, interesting, good and bad. I actually got injured, so I actually had to get knee surgery and recover from that. So I just feel like there was always these lessons of how to overcome.
Okay.
Like first is, I got here. First it was like, can I get a scholarship? God brought me through that. Then it was like, okay, I get to college. I can't take what I'm supposed to, that I've always wanted to take. Okay, what's the alternative? Then, I'm injured, and it's my knee was so bad, like I couldn't even get through practices. It would swell up like the size of a watermelon. I would have to tape ice, and I was like, I got to get this surgery.
Draining it all the time. That's painful.
So I had to get surgery, recover from that, and understand. Like it got to a point with that surgery where it was like, if you don't fully extend your leg, like you're not gonna have full range of motion. Like you need to do this rehab. I was like, I just don't want to do it. So that was good, but I did play. We got a coach, a second coach, my my junior year, I believe, and she really was great. And I got.
So you got hurt in your freshman year?
Yeah, I was hurt. Yeah, freshman year. Ooh. So I played through it, and then that off season I got surgery. Okay. And recovered. Off season to play my sophomore year, and then I played my.
You didn't take a break.
No. Oh. Yeah, because then After I did all of that
Mm-hmm.
and I played my junior year, I just was like, I don't want to do this no more.
Wow.
I was like, it's just too much. I feel like I'm going to school for basketball and I'm really here to learn about this new art form called graphic design. And I feel like I don't have the time
Hold on. Go
to
ahead.
focus.
Y'all don't do what y'all need to do.
I feel like I don't have the time to focus on it. And I made the hard decision to forfeit the rest of my scholarship so I could be a regular student. I was like, I don't feel like I'm experiencing the college experience. And because I knew that I didn't necessarily want to go overseas, that I
Okay.
wasn't looking for that to be my next, I'm like, I'm going to go through your college experience and it's going to be a blur. And it's going to be about exhaustion and basketball, two things that I'm not passionate about.
That's correct.
And so I really had to make another hard decision and say, hey, and it was hard because it's like, it was such a place of privilege. It's like, how could I complain about, oh, this is too hard when people would wish they had a full ride. But I was just like, this is what I got to do for me. And when I did it, I actually got a Gold Addy Award for publication design. I started to enter my work into competitions and really that was like my validation, which was the highest student award you can get at that time
Wow.
for publication design. And I felt like that was God's confirmation. Yep, you made the right decision because had you not quit, you wouldn't have had the capacity to focus on your craft. And I had no idea how far like the graphic design pathway was going to take me. So all things worked together in the end.
That's cool.
But it was hard.
It's
I
hard.
felt stupid. I was like, girl, you about to get this money up.
But
Out
did you
alone.
stay at the same school and
I
finish?
did. I did. My coach was not happy.
Yeah, they'd be mad when you do that.
She was not happy at all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Is she still coaching?
I think she is involved with basketball. I'm so sorry, coach. You were a great coach, and I wish I wasn't so burnt out by the time you came to Radford because I would have loved to play for you all 4 years.
Oh, that was cool. Shout out to you. What's
Shout
the coach's
out to-
name? Give a shout out.
We just gonna keep that under wraps. We're not gonna shout that out, but
Okay.
she knows
Okay.
who she is.
Oh, she knows who she is. All right, that's cool. That's cool. I'm glad you got through that, and it helped shape who you are today, and it helped mold you to your next step. So your next step after that was going into business for yourself, or what did you do when you got out of school?
It was. So I got out of school during the hardest like economic time since the Great Depression, so the 2008, 2009. So I graduated officially 2010, but because I had those credits early on, I graduated in 3 years. So I stayed in Virginia for a year and worked, and then I came back home so I could walk 2010. So I technically graduated in 2009,
Okay.
and then I stayed for a year and I did my commencement 2010. So when I got back to Cleveland, it was just like no jobs. It was like I did all of this. I trained, got the scholarship, went through the surgery, and now I'm working at FedEx office.
That's the most
I was
depressing
like,
part about students coming back to Cleveland. It's hard to find work here.
It was very hard. And I was just like, what did I do this for? Like, again, I'm not a fashion designer. I'm not doing the thing like, and I'm here asking people, do they want color or black and white copies?
Wow.
And it wasn't, but I've always been entrepreneurial, and I think my mom helped foster that, and myself since a kid. I used to sell these like kente bows for $1. I've always been ingenuitive and like creative and entrepreneurial. So with those skills, I just noticed that there was a need. When people would come into FedEx office, they would ask, hey, do you guys do graphic design? And I'd say, we don't, but I do. And I'm like, I can't talk to you on the job if you just call me. And that's when the hustle started.
Okay.
And so I just started doing graphic design work in 2010 for just different local entrepreneurs. I met a lot of great people at this particular location. They were real legitimate business owners that I know now today and had no idea how successful they were then. So there's people in the city that I've known 10 to 20 years just from meeting them at FedEx office.
And doing
And doing work for them. Yeah, and them seeing a spark in me as a young 20-something-year-old, like hungry for work.
Okay. And so your first thing was starting the graphic design.
As a freelancer, yeah.
Oh, and I met a guy who I'm working with now the same way, and that we've been together for over, like you say, 20 years, and met him pretty much the same way, doing some graphic design work, needing some help, and from there, been right with us the whole time. So I could see how that happened. So how long did you do graphic design? How long was the graphic design business, and before you got that off the ground and started going full time with it?
Yeah, so I did it for years, and I feel like I've never really stopped. It's been the both and. I again, when you talk about love, like a forced love relationship, yes, I enjoy it, but I was
Right.
never like, oh, I just became good at it. So I did it as a means to survival, probably from the time I graduated all the way until 2015.
Okay.
I started actually designing for like local restaurants, doing their menus, like really actually getting bigger clients, but it was just too much to manage.
Okay.
And at that time, I don't think I had the management skills to set up processes for myself. It was very much like freelance. And I did the best that I could, but it was just too much. It was overwhelming. I was getting more interest than I had capacity to complete the projects. So I was burnt out. And then also I was getting clients who saw me as like a young 20-something, wanted me to do all of this work for no money, and they wanted to give me like horrible pictures and think I could make work a miracle. So I was like, I don't feel appreciated. Like, I'm not doing this. Y'all suck. Like, y'all are horrible customers. So I just stopped. And that's when I started to look for corporate work and got a job at a corporation, a really great corporation. And then also around that time, got married. Yeah, in 2015.
Oh.
So yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
I've lived so many lives.
So
We don't have to go into that.
So you decided I'm gonna give up the freelance.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, yes, put that on the table. I was burnt out, and I was like, I just want to go to work, know what I'm doing, and come home. Like, I do not want to manage people and manage processes and manage clients. But I felt like I was always getting put in management positions or leadership positions before I felt like I was ready to lead people. I was like, I don't know what says this on my forehead that I'm ready to lead y'all. Like, I got a freelance, I was working as a temp, and so I worked as a freelancer for different companies like TCP, like Technical Consumer Products. I worked for SureTech, the duct tape company out in Avon. Like, I was doing different jobs like that. And specifically at that company, I was working with like people twice my age who were looking to me at a point in time to lead them. And I'm like, you guys are senior level designers. So I was working as like a project coordinator, managing their processes and systems. So I always got put into positions where I had to manage and project coordinate. Like, how do all these pieces come together? How does your art come together with what marketing is looking to do? And having a creative background, not just like a fashion inclination or just an art background, I was able to put pieces together. And I had an interest in marketing in college, and that's when all the pieces started to come together for me. I was doing a lot. So I was still freelance modeling. I was still doing a little bit of hustle work, but I was looking for a job. So I started as a temp at different companies until I landed my role as a graphic design, like project coordinator at this major company. And even then I was managing, it was a product-based company. And so it had different divisions like food and beverage and different things like that. So I was managing SKUs, and I was managing the package design process. So it's working with regulatory and marketing and double checking details, all things that creatives don't like to do. Like,
how old was you then?
20.
Still in your 20s.
Yeah, I was 26, 27, 25, 26, 27. That 3-year process. And so I actually married at 27. Yeah, I got married at 27. So yeah, so it was, again, I was just getting put in positions to manage a lot of stuff.
You mentioned the fact that you model and you slid that in there. When did the modeling come in?
Yeah, like,
how that opportunity come your way?
I just started, shout out to Robin, Bijou Star. She used to have these breast cancer awareness fashion shows here in the city.
Okay.
And so I started to do those and like model there. And then, like I said, when I was 16, I got approached about being a real model for a larger.
You say you were tall and you were
Yeah,
slim,
but I was
I'm
so
not-
shy and I
right.
didn't want to do it. So I wish I did. But yes, but that was my tie to fashion. So the modeling was just keeping me connected to fashion. I loved changing in the clothes. I loved becoming a different character on the runway. Like, I just loved all of the theatrics of it. And so I just did it for fun, because even in early 20s, and now when I look back, you think, for people who are in your 20s, I need y'all to shut up about not having enough time. There is so much more time left. Because even in my 20s, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so old and I can't do it anymore. And it's, nah, you really can.
You really can.
You really can. So that was just me saying, I guess I missed the boat on that, but I'll just do it for fun, and I'll just stay connected to fashion in any way that I can. And her shows were a great avenue for that. So I started to do that, and I just kept doing it. So I was signed to Doherty, and I've done some work with them in the past years, even like a couple years ago. So yeah, it's
What kind of model you do?
it's like commercial.
Okay.
So like very like commercial, like Joanne Fabrics, Moen, Big Lots, like
I think I read something about you enjoying fabrics. Didn't you have something going with Joanne Fabrics?
I did a campaign with I've done like several little things with
Okay,
them,
all
like
right. I think
modeling
when I
them.
was reading your thing, I think I read you did something with Joanne Fabrics. Might have been.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I thought about it, or recently, because they're going out of business now, and that's what made me think about it. I was like,
That's
wow, and they
crazy.
going out of business when I read about it. So, yeah, that's interesting.
I would love all the fabric that you have.
They probably
Joanne
got a big sale
Fabrics.
going.
I'm gonna check that out because we need to put in perfect pineapple wraps. Okay, that's where it started.
Oh, hey, here we go.
Yeah.
Good transition. This is what all the fellas been waiting on. What is the solution? So let's talk about it. It's called Perfect Pineapple, right?
Yeah.
Perfect Pineapple is a brand, and that was something else that you came. How old is Perfect Pineapple?
So I know the timeline blurs together because I was doing multiple things at the same
Okay,
time.
that's why I
But
asked you. I was like,
yeah.
how did that fit in?
I was just doing multiple things. Like I've never been a person that just was doing one thing.
Okay.
So while I was working corporate, I started 2015. So by 2017, I had come up with a solution because I was a loose curl natural and was just trying to figure out how to protect my curls at night. If I do a great twist out, like how do I keep it? And that was during the height of this methodology called pineappling, where you put all your curls like to the front of your head and you just tie it gently. Tried that with the scarf that my grandmother gave me at the time. Did that. And I was like, "Oh, this actually works." And I remember waking up one morning, I was like, "Oh, this would be so cute if like my scarf was cute." Like I could like literally go to sleep and wake up and not have to do my hair and go to work. And I was like, "Well,
Keep
let me
carve
try
on.
it." Yeah, I was like,
Okay.
"Let me try this." And so I actually went to Joann Fabrics. I cut a pattern, like a loose pattern from the scarf that I had, and went to Joann Fabrics and got the right kind of fabric for what I was thinking of and tried it and it worked, and it was just a two-way stretch fabric so that I could tie it any type of way that I wanted. And I started to figure out not only can I pineapple it, but I could wear it like this, I could wear it like that, I could do all these different things with this one little scarf.
Interesting.
And that's how Perfect Pineapple started.
So is now Perfect Pineapple is that's a business. You can buy it, you can get it
Yeah,
online.
yeah.
So it comes in different colors. So
It
tell me what's the
does.
deal with that?
Currently, somebody hacked into my site, so I'm
Woo.
experiencing technical difficulties with the Perfect Pineapple site. But you can visit it, and you will see the products that they're sold out. However, yes, it's like it's a full-on business of its own. It's its
Okay.
own brand. It's its own business,
That's an
and
Amazon thing?
it's not on Amazon
Okay.
yet. No,
And so
it's on Shopify.
it's on Shopify and it's a product that you so did you have to go get that you had to get a patent and all of that stuff for
Yes,
everything?
yeah. So I did get a patent, and it took 3 years
Whoa.
for one of the designs. The original design, I was not able to patent, which broke my heart. But it was eligible. I just didn't have the means at the time to
Okay.
complete the process, which sucks. But I was able to secure a patent for another design that I have yet to release. So that's good. So yeah.
So what was that process like for the new entrepreneurs and people who come up with an idea like what you came for? Was that as painful as one would think, or what would be your advice to anybody who wants to do that?
I would say get a patent attorney. I was blessed to get a really great patent attorney
Okay.
who just believed in what I was doing. And I told her the vision, and being a creative, I was able to sketch it out. I have an uncle who's an artist. So I
Okay.
was like, Unc, can you make these drawings exactly the way that the product looks like, how it looks on the head? Because it requires that process. They need to understand exactly how it's made, how it works. And you can get two variations of a patent. You can get a design patent or utility. So are you patenting what it looks like and how it's constructed, or are you patenting the method? And yeah,
That's
get a patent
interesting.
attorney.
Get a patent attorney.
Yeah.
And how many colors that thing come in?
It comes in any colors that your imagination can think of. We have different lines.
Different lines? Okay, that's what I was trying to get at. So you do have different lines. You can go pick out the different colors and styles that you want. So it's a scarf.
It's essentially a scarf,
Okay.
a dope scarf.
A dope scarf.
Yeah,
Okay. It's a dope scarf. And it looks better than the bonnet.
I think so.
I think so. Anything looks
I
better than
think
the
so.
bonnet. And for people who want to start a business like that and getting into some of the business, what was the biggest driving force you had behind you that really made you feel like, you know what, I'm going to do that? Everybody, just like when you, from the start of when you decided, hey, I want to do this and make this a thing and want to sell it. How long did that process take?
I think it moved pretty quickly for me because it was meeting a need that I had, and then also I happened to be living with my grandmother at the same time, and she was going through like cancer, and so I wanted to see how it worked for people with hair or without hair, and she was always my biggest inspiration in terms of just being a go-getter. This woman traveled the world. She got her master's at 40. She was a VP for her company. And so I really admired just her ability to be creative and also like her leadership as well. And I was able to run some of these ideas by her and get her feedback. And I think she pushed me, and I was just motivated to again, just be my own boss and kind of create my own path. Just because I think that's just who creatives are. We're rebellious in nature, so we want to forge our own paths.
So before we get into the last part of this segment, because we want to talk about your faith and all that, as it relates to right now, what you're doing now to sum it all up is you are the owner of and CEO of your company and
Agency, yeah.
agency.
So I'll sum it up. So because of all these different experiences and my roots in graphic design and marketing and just again my work experience getting put into leadership positions trying to understand how the actual creative impacts the marketing strategy, which impacts the business. I've been just decided during the pandemic, like 2020, I felt like that's when God was bringing it back to me because I put that on the back burner. I was perfect mindable, okay? And yes, I did all the graphics, and yes, I made the brand, and yes, I created the photo shoots, and I was able to do that and create this whole brand by myself because of all these other experiences, my experience with fashion, my experience with design and marketing. So I thank God that He gave me those tools so I could create the brand itself with low overhead. What I didn't understand with that brand was like inventory and supply chain. Okay, where are you getting the fabric? How cheap can you get the fabric? Who's going to manufacture the fabric? Where are you going to get it manufactured? Can you go to China to check out the facility? Can we find overseas? How much is that going to cost? What's their MOQs? What's your cost of goods sold? That was like, bro, like that's not designing a flyer. That's something totally different. So I was like, all right, God, I think I've reached my capacity. Okay, I need help to get the business to the next level.
Okay.
And so when the pandemic hit, it was like, man, this is really all I'm doing. By that time, I had quit my job at the company that I was working with. I was still currently married at the time, and he was an entrepreneur as well. He was a barber. And so we were just like trying to figure it out.
Okay.
And that's when people started tapping me on the shoulder because people who I have deep relationships with in the city know that I do design. They knew that I had this multi-hyphenate creative. And they'd be like, hey, Shiron, we trying to figure out how to do this. Can you design something real quick? And I'm like, sure. And I saw the need. And so the Lord was like, yeah, you should go back to that idea about an agency. Like you should create an agency. And at the time I was 33. And also 33 has a symbolic meaning because it's the year when Jesus was crucified, and it was the fulfillment of his purpose, and it was the deliverance for everyone. And so I felt like it was a full circle moment for me. So I was like, we call it Agency 33. And it just stuck with me. And originally it was something that I was thinking him and I could do because he had a strong background in marketing, and I just thought he was really smart, like we could just do this. But his passion wasn't there, and the Lord kept showing me that this is something I want you to do, not knowing what would happen later. But so Agency 33 just became the umbrella. And Perfect Pineapple is just a brand of Agency 33.
Correct.
And we have other brands that we've designed for Futureland, like the Tastemakers brand, for other clients,
Other clients.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating about what you do and how you got to where you are today. And one of now shifting to gear about your faith, because throughout this whole let me talk in my microphone. Throughout this process, we talked a lot about your faith, and we talked about how you are grounded in that. When did that start? And just talk a little bit about your faith.
Yeah. It started when I was a child. I gave my life to Christ. So I'm a Christian, and I gave my life to Christ. I decided that, hey, I think Jesus is real. I think this is dope. I think it's amazing that this man named Jesus, like, actually was a human being, but he was also God, and he died for my sins so that, like, I could have, like, eternal life, like, in paradise. Like, that sounds cool. As a kid, I was like, I really believe this, and I meant it with my whole heart. So I think I was in like the first grade, and I went to a really big church at the time, and The process was like, if you want to give your life to Jesus, come into the aisle, come
Yeah.
down to the altar. And I walk all the way down that altar like, I want Jesus. This is nice, okay?
Right.
And then I got baptized right after that. And I understood. I think the key is like I really understood what it meant when I got baptized. That my old man was dying and I'm coming back new. My sins are forgiven and this is my new start. And so it started as a child, and I have like a church kid story where I really just loved God, really felt his presence. I think my creativity and my imagination helped with envisioning that God is with me, envisioning the things that require faith. And I just really leaned into it. And I felt like every time that I trusted God, like he came through for me. And it wasn't like a magic genie situation. It was just like during hard moments, during trying moments, even in college. Like I remember one of my college roommates, man, those practices used to be so hard. Like the more,
That's
like
what I
the
know. I know.
like the more like the morning conditioning stuff,
Right.
like I used to feel like I was gonna die. Like I was like, I used to come back to the dorm, God, thank you for keeping me. Because I did pass out. You know what I'm saying? And I used to be so demonstrative with my worship in the dorm. She would just be watching me just sing and worship. Thank you, Jesus. And I remember later in our college years, she was like, and another roommate was like, I just want to thank you for being so bold about your faith.
Really?
Because of you, you really encouraged me to believe. And you just never know how you're ministering to someone else through you just being authentic and being transparent about your faith. And I just have seen the fruit of believing in Jesus and what he says and seeing it play out. It may not play out on the timeline that I want, but he's faithful. And so that's my story. Like I've just seen him show up for me in the worst moments. Like I've been through a lot of like emotional like struggles and he's kept me. And there's no reason why I should be confident or still pursuing some of the things I'm pursuing based on the way that I feel like I've struggled mentally. Yeah.
That's really good. And it's just so amazing that I've run into more and more younger people who have that kind of testimony and saying that. So that's really good because I hang out with another group of pastors and they older pastors and everything. And all they talk about now is, I'm always on them about, oh, yeah, your church is just, people ain't coming there no more, pastors. Y'all having a hard time. But it's really good to hear people like you and in your age bracket and others who have that fulfillment and still believe in that. And that's really great.
And we in the end times, if y'all don't know.
Yeah, we are.
If y'all ain't seen, try Jesus. Because we going to need him.
Oh, they're going to need them. If more, like you say, now than
ever.
So let's talk about this. It's called the Kingdom Culture Worship Night.
So the official name.
That's what I should have been talking about. Like I said yesterday, I was so discombobulated on the show. I was like, I can't get her, because I had a nice title for you all around and everything. I couldn't get none of that right yesterday. So today, tell me about it. And Zeke was the one, he said, y'all didn't talk about that? I said, no, not at all. He said, that's what you were supposed to talk about. So I really want to spend a little time on that. So just tell me about that. What is that all about?
Yeah, so Kingdom Culture is the organization, and I'm in the process of making it a 501c3. I'm still just toying around with what the structure is going to be, but it is incorporated to become a nonprofit. And it's really just an organization whose mission is to reclaim culture for the kingdom of God. Because as a creative, I understand, and the Bible says that God spoke everything into existence. He said it and then it was. He is a creative. And so the sonics of this world, the art, the movements, he understands all of that. And it's perverted in the culture that we praise every day. Like that is a perverted version of what was really praised, what was really worship unto God, what was really created by God. And so our mission is just to reclaim that. If you got a rap song, why can't we rap about Jesus? If you have a R&B song, why can't we sing about Jesus? And it's the same. And I think also as like a younger believer, this is something that I was struggling with in my early 20s. It's okay, I love the Lord, but if I want to have a good time, where do I go? Like in my early 20s, like I used to feel so convicted in college, even though it was fun. Everybody has their drunken stories and has their kick at nights. But I used to come home convicted for real. It was like I was a double agent. I had to gear myself up to be like, no, it's fine. we're
Right.
gonna go to the club. But I was really a church girl, and I was like, Jesus, I'm sorry. They was cussing in the club. I got the feeling like I wanted to do some things that I know that you don't want me to do. And I was tired of
Right.
having that like duality inside of me. But it was like, where do I go though? Who's providing the solution
Mhm.
if I don't want to go to the club?
Hold on, don't worry about that.
Okay. Then where do I go?
It's
And
really,
so
really.
even back in the day, like it was something that I wanted to create back in the day, but I just never did.
You might be 20 years too late.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
what I
I'm
felt
saying?
like.
Because I I would imagine a lot of people struggle with that, and there isn't.
But here's the thing about God being a redeemer of time, because
Mhm.
that's exactly what I thought. I thought that when I first got married, I used to share this with my ex-husband. I was like, we should do that. It was still something bubbling up inside of me, and this is 2015. So this is before the joyful noises of the world. This is before this was real movement. This was when the craze on the scene, about five good rappers, and Emilio Lecrae. We got KB, like the Caleb Gordons of the world right now, or the Alex Jeans. Like, it wasn't cool. It was like it was still a trailblazing situation. And but I just it wasn't it, I was in a season where I don't think I was in alignment with God, and
Mhm.
so I just didn't execute on it. I didn't feel like I had the capacity. It was just a lot going on. But after coming out of that season, now hearing God tap me on the shoulder, I was like, I'm already doing 5,000 things. People already think I do 1,000 things. So that whole
Mhm.
like saying jack of all trades, master of none. But the full thing is it's better than being a master of one. And I never heard that until recently, but it used to haunt me like, okay, I need to be corporate. I need to just do one thing really good. And I just need to be like excellent at that. And then once I'm like perfect at that, then I can move on. But the pandemic really showed us all that it was like, oh, that's about the survival of the fittest. How many things can you do? Like, you are only this. Like, you don't have the modalities or the mobility to survive, right? And I was so grateful that I was wired the way that I was wired at the time. But for a long time, I fought that identity and felt like I was a failure because I had several interests that were very similar, but they were different. They were all in the same lane. So from that perspective, I had a linear focus, but there were several things that I was equally good at and
Mhm.
equally passionate about. And I
Yeah.
never felt like that was okay until I was like, you know what?
But
That's okay.
you said the thing that most people don't even catch, and that was like you say, jack of all trades and a master of none. It's still often better than
Then
a
a
master
master
of
of
one.
one.
And most people always stop and don't. They just stop jack of all trades. And that's how I am. I can do a whole bunch of stuff. I tell people that all the time, and I really put the pressure on just brothers. I go there, especially young men. I just grew up in an era that everything that breaks in my house, I fix. Everything. If it's broke from a door being broke, if I have a tool set, like a whole tool set, drills, everything, I fix stuff. I break stuff. Fixing stuff, I break stuff. Then I get to the point where I just don't want to fix. I'll call somebody to fix it, but I do that, and a lot of people just don't. And a lot of it wasn't because I just wanted to. It was just out of necessity. Didn't have. It was a time I couldn't call nobody. I had to figure it out, or I had to do it myself. So I think being a jack of all trades is always good. Having yourself being able to do it, teaching myself how to do this podcasting stuff was something because, as I said in the beginning, I just woke up one day and said I wanted to podcast, and I didn't have no sense of how a microphone work, how lighting work, how video works, or any of that stuff. Editing, never did any
Yeah,
of that stuff,
that's amazing.
and just got into it and just kept at it till I got it, and still learning every day, just like you are. Every day, you be like, oh, I didn't know that. You
Yeah.
picked up something new or how to make your business better, and that's good. I want to stay on the faith thing because I just ramble a lot.
Let's
Because
go. Let's go.
I really, what's make your program, the culture night, different than traditional church? Because
Absolutely. And I was get there. So that's the organization. We're reclaiming the kingdom, the culture for the kingdom of God. And so we're doing that by solving that problem. And I was saying when God tapped me on the shoulder to do that, and we started it last year. I started last year. I felt like it was too late. I was like, do you really want me to do this? Like I'm already doing a lot of different things. That's how we got on the whole jack of all trades. That was God showing me his grace that his timing is perfect. I can hold off a demographic of people that just need to hear your voice and what I want to create through you. It doesn't matter who else is doing all those other things. There is a tribe and a lane and a population that harkens to a specific voice that I still want you to produce this in the earth. And so it was really an obedient step because it's not like it's something that's generating income right now. Honestly, like I use like my tithe to pay for the stuff for it. And that was even a blessing in and of itself that was like, God, you've provided for me in such a way that I'm able to use my tithe and some donations from some faithful people who helped start it to produce these events. So what makes it different from traditional church is that, number one, I am not a pastor. Okay. Number two, it's just a gathering. It's a fun event. It's for you to come have conscious, free fun.
So walk me through.
Yeah.
I heard, I saw it on the flyer.
So we have the house party series. It's going to be more more events that we plan to have that are produced by Kingdom Culture.
Okay.
But right now, we're just digging our heels into the house party event. So it's harkening back to the 90s where you just come and you just kick it. So we have vendors that are selling like Christian merch or really dope merch.
Now, this is coming up in March?
So it's coming up in April.
In April.
April 12th is our 1-year anniversary.
Yeah, all right.
And so we're excited. We're putting all the pieces together now. So pray for us.
You have a location and everything yet?
Yeah, Creative Space. So we're partnered with Creative Space. And
Creative Space is in?
Willowick, Ohio.
With,
Asia Child.
You know, this was crazy.
Yeah,
You sitting here talking to me, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking, this is what I was thinking. I was like, you know what? I want to do a panel discussion. I think her and Asia
Oh my
on
gosh.
a panel. I was just sitting here
Love
thinking
her.
because I did Asia.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
I love
yes.
Asia.
I was just sitting there thinking like I could put because we were talking about doing a woman next month is Women's Month.
Yeah.
And I was just, why are you talking? My mind is going 100 miles an
Yeah.
hour, and I'm sitting there like, you know what? Her and Asia, and I get 1 or 2 more women. I think I could bring them back
Let's
for
do
my
it.
Women Month
Let's do
because
it.
because you talking in the same vein she talks.
Yeah.
You remind me a lot. That's why when you sit in time, I'm like, boy, you sound like
That's my
Asia.
dog.
Oh, that's right. Okay. All right, so you're going to Asia spot.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're
that's
partnered
good.
with them. So all of our house party events are at her space.
Okay.
And yeah, and so it's vendors, so you get to shop, get to mingle. We have a DJ, like curate a DJ set. We have talent and artists, rappers. So we've had Christ Jr. He's now going to be like performing. We've had God Fearing. And we've had some underground artists that come from the local and surrounding areas that are really talented that get to perform. We had a cypher the first time. It was super dope.
Okay.
And then at the end, we do have a worship set because we never want to let the entertainment get ahead of God.
Okay.
This is a space for you to come as you are and prayerfully,
Anybody can come.
yeah, and prayerfully not leave as you are. It's if you're curious about God, if you want to have conversations about God, if you want to experience something different, this is the place for you. So it's not, what do you call it, like a society or an elitist, like you just got to be Christian. No, come as you are and encounter love because God is love by definition. Like encounter God in the way that you need to. And the goal is we connect with local churches because we are not a church. We want to make sure like if you experience deliverance, which we had on the first night, we had a young man experience like real deliverance from some stuff. It's okay, now I can point you in a direction to be discipled
Okay.
by a pastor, in a body of
So
believers
there's
that can
pastors
support
and
you.
folks there.
Yeah.
So is this
So our goal is to be a bridge to
Is this-
healthy churches.
this supported by mainly younger folks? And when I say that,
Yeah.
I can tell you I'm 57.
I want to be young forever. So
So
it's
right,
fine.
but that's why I tell you we need that. So it's mainly a younger movement on this end.
So we just naturally attract like millennials.
That's where I'm getting
Yeah,
at. Okay.
but we've been attracting like millennials and Gen Z. Like it's just
Okay.
becoming this like smorgasbord.
That's interesting.
It's open. My 70-year-old uncle came kicking it.
But we really need to get to the younger ones. So I'm really excited about that. And we talk about that quite often, especially like last year with a bunch of endeavors and things, initiatives we were doing. And it was funny. We were doing a thing with men, trying to get men involved and all of that. And every time we do the events, I come out and be like, boy, we do a great job getting all these old men together. But we can't get no young guys in here.
Yeah.
So every time I hear you guys doing anything along those lines, I think it's awesome. And any way that we can support. please let me know what you need. Please let me know what you need. Say, hey, man, we need this. We're trying to do something. And that's what we're here to help
Yeah.
support those kind of things. And if it's something we can do at the radio station, which is
Oh,
another, if you want to
absolutely.
say, hey, you want the radio station to come out and they can do a live remote from there to get
Yeah.
people there and go live on the radio to let people know this. We can do all of that for you. And we
Let's
want
do
to
that.
open that up for you and extend that to you because I like you. I think you're doing good stuff.
Thank you.
It never ceased to amaze me. They bring people on, and I'd be weird. I don't know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But Zeke pulled you out in the last 10 minutes before you walked in. He said, man, she talks about this thing. And I said, I'm
Oh,
very
awesome.
interested in that.
Thank you.
So that was very good.
Yeah.
DJ, you got something for Miss Shiron before we let her do her closing?
Yeah. How do you feel that people are responding to the kingdom culture? And a lot of times people might look at you and then be surprised that you're following Jesus, you're following faith, but along with being a savvy entrepreneur and creative. So how does that mix? Do you bump heads with people that are not in the faith and doing the same thing creatively?
Oh, absolutely. I think that creatives sometimes they use different mediums to tap into their creativity. So I think in the realm of art, marketing, advertising, entertainment, like being around event curation, you always encounter people who subscribe to different practices of spirituality more, and they tend to be more spiritual people. Like
Okay.
whether it's like my crystals or I believe in this, I believe in the universe, I believe I have all types of stuff. And I think I'm learning that God has called me to this demographic. And there's a lot of warfare in the demographic because there's a lot of openness to open you up to ideas, to tap into the creativity. There's there's less restraint.
That's correct.
And so you're more of an open door to spiritual
That's
things.
correct.
And based on my belief, there's only two realms. It's the kingdom of heaven and the kingdom of hell. And so if it's not the kingdom of heaven, then we know what it's coming from. And so I do feel that. And I'm navigating that. And I just feel like God is confirming that I'm called to that. And
What's good about that is that you have the sense to be able to identify it. See, it's the
Praise
people
God.
who walk around and bump into that shit all the time, and they wonder why they keep failing or why this keep happening to me. And that is because it's not unveiled. So you have the privilege of knowing when somebody's not right or somebody's good. Just like
It's
I
the
knew
Holy Spirit.
you were right when we did it and talking. Just like when I was here thinking, challenging Asia out of it. Man, she sounds so much like Asia,
Yeah.
childish and that. And when I talked to Asia, was the same way. Didn't expect her to be so spiritual in everything that she was doing, and her business is founded off of that spirituality, just like yours are. And that's why I find you guys remarkable. I always say I want to bring on interesting people, so you made the interesting
I'm
meter.
so excited.
Yes, you did.
No,
You made the
yeah.
meter.
And let me ask you this real
Yes.
quick too, because now it's popular to come up somewhere. I want to thank God for this. Want to thank God for that.
Right.
How do you decipher who's really got a heart for God versus I'm just saying I want to thank God, but they could be worshiping or
Yeah.
practicing anything
Their God.
spiritually.
Yeah. So the Bible talks about, I think it's John 15:5, where it says you'll know, it talks about being connected to the vine and Jesus being the vine and God being the vine dresser. And whoever produces good fruit, he continues to prune. And those who do not produce good fruit, they're tossed away and thrown into the fire. The way that you know is by people's fruit, by their actions, by what they do, how they present. Like you will know a tree by its fruit. You'll know an apple tree because it's producing apples. You'll know if it's rotten, if the apples are rotten, if they're bitter. And I think when we could just use like celebrities, for instance, because there's a lot going on in the entertainment industry. There's a lot of deception. There's a lot of covert stuff. If your music and what you're producing is your fruit, so to get up there and thank God, they may be thanking a God, but they're
Right.
not
Right.
thanking the Most High God, Yahweh, Yeshua, like Elohim, Yeshua, Jesus. Like they're not thanking that God, and so they're standing in their truth of I want to thank a God, I want to thank my God, and they just may say God blanketed because that's well accepted, but you will know by the fruit that they produce what God they're thanking.
That's awesome. Zeke, you got something you want to ask?
Yo, that's dope.
Keep it going. Y'all got me in my Jesus bag. We could be here all day because people need to hear this. The goal is to make disciples. Like, people need to know that there's hope, that, like, you don't have to be afraid about all the stuff that's happening in the news. That's a sign of the end times. God said that's going to happen. But being a believer and understanding that Jesus Christ, like, literally paid the price and he reconciled all of this, that if you believe in Christ, you are kept, and that your eternity is secure, and that you have access to authority and power to navigate this world, that far surpasses witchcraft, that far surpasses the power of the prince of the power of this air. That is what I want people to know. And that's what I'm endeavoring to find out and continue to grow in. Like, we have an escape route. We don't have to be fearful.
And people really need to see people like you
That's
talking
what I
about
said.
it, because you
Right.
look cool, you're fashionable, you did this, you did that. And people always think that, oh, I'm going to get stuck in the box because I believe in Jesus, or I go to church, or I do this.
Or just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them who probably feel the exact same way you do, go to church and everything, but they just don't talk about it. So therefore, you wouldn't know. And like I said, when interviewing you yesterday on the radio, it was all about, okay, let me get through the stuff that she did. And when we was talking to Zeke today, we was going through just the difference in the clients. And I said, I was trying to find something. He said, you didn't talk about kingdom worship. And I said, no, what is that? Then I started looking at that, and I said, okay, now this is what I wanted to talk about. This is kind of balance off, because I'm like, okay, we know she did that and she did it. Where is the balance? What's the, as they in this thing, what's the hook? All right, so now in your case, the hook is your spirituality, it's your faith, it's who you are, it's what makes it. Now I'm like, now I got a complete story.
Yeah,
Now I can sit back and we can make a complete story out of it. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that
great.
with us. I want to make sure that we give you this as a tool to help you in your business. But what we do before we end all projects, that camera right there belongs to you.
Hey, everybody. I'm Charron Leeper, also known as Freely C on Instagram. I am here on the Strategic Move podcast with Kenn Dowell. I just want to give a shout out to Kingdom Culture. We are having our 1-year anniversary event. April 12th is something you do not want to miss. Be in the building. It's going to be an amazing time. And I also want you to just check us out, my Agency 33 on Instagram. It's agency33_, and the website is www.agency-33.com. Just tap in with me. Hey, everybody. Kingdom Culture is coming April 12th at Create a Space. Doors are going to open at 7. It's going to be from 8 to 11:30. We're going to have musical guests. We're going to have worship. We're going to have a DJ set, food, mocktails, vendors, all of the things that you have experienced at every other Kingdom Culture, plus more. So definitely go onto Eventbrite, grab your ticket. Tickets are live right now. Again, it's going to be April 12th at Create a Space in Willowick. You don't want to miss it. Hey, everybody, this is Charron Leeper, aka Freely C, and I'm excited to tell you about my businesses and all the things happening with me. First, I want you to check out Agency 33. It's agency33_ on Instagram, and you can find us on the web at agency-33.com. It's a full-service design and marketing agency here to serve you and all your creative needs. Also, I want you to check out Perfect Pineapple. It's a head wrap and hair accessory company that I founded in 2017. So go ahead and go to www.perfectpineapplewraps to check out what we have available, and then find us on Instagram at Perfect Pineapple Wrap.
Cleveland, today's conversation reminds us of the one powerful truth: faith, creativity, and business are all connected. When we walk in our purpose, doors open. When we remain faithful, our vision grows. Charron Leeper is proof of that. If we're going to take anything from this conversation, let it be this: your creativity is your gift, your faith is your foundation, and your dreams are all valid. When we step into the truth, we don't just create business, we create a movement. So I want everybody to continue to listen to what we're doing here on our podcast. Everybody, I want to thank you guys for watching Strategic Moves with Kenn Dowell. I have Charron Leeper, who is on our program. We want to thank you for coming on our program today. She has everything you want to know about Charron Leeper will be in her description in the video. So we'll leave a website or how you can get in contact with her, how you can find out more about the program she's doing, which is called Kingdom Culture Worship Night, which is a really big event. We want people to check that out. And as well as she has an accessory that she is the founder of, and it is called the Perfect Pineapple Hair Accessory. And fellas, buy one, get one free. Hurry up and get them. Hurry up and get them. Hurry up and get them.
About that.
Just messing with you. Please check her out. All her stuff will be in the links in the description. Please check her out and please buy her. Buy some of her accessories and look at what she's doing as a business. Until next time, we want to thank everybody for watching our program. Peace.